Where are you from? It's a simple question, yet it is one that I have a lot of difficulty answering. Are you asking me where I was born, where I've lived the longest, or where I currently live? Some of you may think I'm making this complicated, so let me ask you this. What is home? For me and my family, home is where the Navy sends you. I am a Navy brat. For those of you who don't know what this means, it means that I am the daughter of a parent in the Navy. It means that I've grown up through deployments, moving across the country, changing schools, all of it. My dad enlisted in the Navy in September of 1998, 6 months before I was born. By the time I was 6 months old, I experienced my first move from Lake Forest, Illinois to Dahlgren, Virginia. And within the next year and a half, we would move to Norfolk, Virginia, my brother would be born, and my dad would miss his first year as a baby due to multiple underways and trainings in Florida. I started preschool at Willoughby Way, a place to learn, 3 years later, and sure enough, within the year, my father received orders back to Dahlgren, Virginia. I was 5 at the time, and my mother was very pregnant with what would soon be my little sister. Anyways, I start school at Dahlgren Elementary. Sure enough, 3 years later, my dad receives orders, but this time to San Diego. My mom was thrilled. My siblings and I, not so much. I, as an 8-year-old, was leaving my home. Again. I'd say goodbye to Girl Scouts, piano lessons, ballet, art club, everything. But it was no use fighting it, and soon enough, we were on our way to San Diego. I started school in San Diego in the middle of 3rd grade, completely lost. Cursive wasn't being taught, American history wasn't a daily lesson, and I had to memorize multiplication tables. I had to be able to answer 48 questions by memory in 2 minutes. I had just started perfecting addition and subtraction. How am I going to be able to do this? It was also my first public school since preschool, and it was very different. I refused to wear jeans until I was 10, because I was used to skirts and skirts with the occasional capris. Then, by the time 4th grade ended, my dad got orders back to Virginia, and again we left. Thankfully, we got to stay in Virginia Beach, Virginia for a grand total of 6 years, which is the longest I've lived anywhere. Throughout those 6 years, my dad went on 3 deployments and missed me becoming a teenager. You can imagine how well that transition went. Then we packed up and moved to San Diego, where we live now, the last place that I will have had to move because of the Navy. However, the next stop for my family is undetermined. My dad receives orders in the next few weeks. So, what is the point of this story? The point of this story isn't to elicit pity from you all, or to make you angry. The purpose of this is to share with you what I've learned from being in 7 different schools by the time I was 16, the culture shock from moving to my first bustling city, and how it's changed me. What have I learned from being a Navy brat? I've learned that change is always positive. It's only your perspective that determines how it changes your future. I've been plucked from homes, schools, friends, everything, to the point where it makes dealing with change difficult. However, every time I've experienced this change, I've had a chance to start over, see amazing things like Buffalo at Yellowstone or the Grand Canyon, and experience things that the average 18-year-old hasn't. Throughout moving, I could have focused on the fact that I was leaving all my friends and my school again. But if the constant change in my life has taught me anything, it's that life is too short to focus on the negatives. 1. Oh wait.
God damn it.
What I've learned from being a military kid. 1. It's okay to embrace change, especially if you don't have a choice. 2. Always be nice to the new kid in school. You've been there before and you know it sucks. 3. Be flexible. Life will always be throwing curveballs at you. The curveballs don't define you. How you deal with them defines you. 4. The East Coast is very different from the West Coast. The music, the slang, the fashion, the weather. 5. Carl's Jr. and Hardee's are the same place. 6. People you think you're going to stay in touch with, you will eventually lose touch with. And that's perfectly okay. 7. Common Core is a great idea in theory, but is executed terribly. 8. You will never fully unpack. I mean ever. 9. You will always mix up street names. All the places you've lived just seem to blend together. 10. In some states, cold is 65 degrees, and in some states, cold is when it was below 0 and your pipes froze. 11. You are the only constant in your life. 12. Credits to graduate are different in every state. This can be a relief and a pain in the ass. 13. You will always wonder how different life would be if you never moved, your parents were always home, and you stayed at the same school till graduation. 14. Seeing your dad come home after 9 months at sea is one of the best feelings in the world, and watching them leave is one of the worst. 15. You have various code names for different countries. That way your parent can tell you where they are without them breaking the rules and telling you. 16. FaceTime is one of the best things ever, especially when they're in another country and gone for months. 17. Going away to college doesn't seem like a huge deal, especially out of state, because you've moved enough already to know what to expect. 18. Family relationships are the most important to maintain. 19. Questions about your hometown and growing up are complicated, because you've had a connection to every place. 17. Going away to college doesn't seem like a huge deal, especially out of state, because you've moved enough to know what to expect. 18. Family relationships are the most important to maintain. 19. Questions about your hometown and growing up are complicated, because you've had a connection to every place. 20. Home is yourself. It isn't a house or a group of people or a place. Home is you and your memories, something that is always with you, no matter how many times you move. So, where am I from? I am from a family of 5, cookie-cutter houses, beige walls, and unpacked boxes. I am a Navy brat.